Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another Brawl Stars video. Today is going to be the August Championship Challenge Guide. I believe this is going to be the final one unless they decided to change something from what they previously announced. But either way, I'm going to go over all the 5 maps and give you the best team comps for each of them so that way you yourself can get 15 wins. And first up, we got Hard Rock Mine, which is going to be our gem grab map. Now, in terms of general strategies for this map, that long strip of grass that basically goes across your side completely is going to be where you want to spend most of this match, and if you can stay there and just use that spot to maintain control of the mine, you should be doing quite well. So the best brawlers are ones who can reach the other patch of grass from your own patch of grass. So basically, long-range brawlers like Mr. P, Gale, Surge, and Piper, they're all going to do really well on this map, and you can see they're in a lot of the comps. So they're going to be super helpful in maintaining control of the center of that map and basically just letting you collect gems for the entire game without much threat from your opponent. Now, on certain comps, there's brawlers like Rosa, and she's super useful if you go a bit more aggressive on your opponent's side, since you can walk in through either the left or right side and get sort of in your opponent's grass while obviously healing up with the plant life star power, and that's going to give you a lot of health and a lot of damage output to take a more aggressive approach and gain control that way. Carl is also another good brawler for maintaining control in this way. He plays a bit more aggressive. The protective pirouette star power is going to let him be a bit more aggressive with his supers, and if for some reason you lose control, that super with protective pirouette is very good for getting a kill on a gem carrier and quickly escaping as well. So those are also possible inclusions that you can use, but all those comps are going to serve you really well on this map. And the next mode is going to be bouncy, and we're going to be on the map Layer Cake. Now, for this map, it's pretty evenly divided into 3 lanes, so you want to make sure that your team really spreads out and make sure that every person on your team tries to win over sort of an individual lane on the map. That's going to easily help you take control of the game and make sure that you have the strongest defense possible. There's also a lot of grass and just weirdly shaped walls, so brawlers who are going to be able to pretty much ignore that are going to be really good on this map. So Mr. P, he can basically just hit over any wall, so it's going to be very tough to play against him because you can't just stand directly behind any wall, because Mr. P will still be able to hit you. Same with the throwers like Tick and Sprout. They're going to be very strong on this map because it denies your opponent the advantage of being able to just hide behind walls and heal up whenever they want to. So then, in addition to the Mr. P and the thrower that you're probably going to have on your team, you typically want some long-range brawler like Brock or Piper, because they can just stand in the center with the grass and get that boosted damage if you're Piper with the ambush star power, and basically just take some huge kills with the amount of damage you're putting out, all while staying pretty far back so you don't risk yourself dying all that much. And Brock is basically the same way with his incendiary star power. He outputs almost the same amount of damage as Piper would, and his super is a bit more useful in destroying your opponent's cover and making sure it's even easier for your team to hit your opponents. Now, you might notice that one team that includes the Mortis with Coiled Snake and the new Survival Shovel gadget. And I put this in here because Mortis is normally really good on Layer Cake in a best of 1 situation. When a lot of people are running brawlers like Throwers and Pipers and Brocks and Mr. P's like you see so much, Mortis basically hard counters all of them. And so in competitive matches, Mortis can sometimes just be an auto win because you can easily team wipe your opponents whenever you want, and there's not much they can do if a Mortis just starts dashing towards them. But it is a bit more risky play if you are going to do it in the Championship Challenge, simply because it's only the 2nd map, and so you might not face too many competitive teams, and so they might not run one of these 5 really good comps, meaning they might run some tanky brawlers like Jackie or something for some reason, who aren't terrible on this map, but they completely hard counter Mortis back. So if you run a Mortis and you get unlucky with your opponent's team comp, you're not going to do well. So this is a bit of a gamble, I would say. So if you do want to be a bit more consistent and ensure that you're going to get 15 wins, I would stick to the other 4 comps just for future reference. Or if you're not great at bounty and you want to give your team a potential boost, Mortis might be the way to go there for this map. Then we have some assembly required, which is the Siege map. Now, this map has a ton of walls in the center, so that means brawlers that cover a large area aren't going to be as effective, and throwers are going to be even more effective because they can just hide behind walls, block off large areas of the map, and really make it easy for your team to take kills. So Barley, you can see, is in 4 of the comps and Dynamite is in the other. I think they're very useful on this map. Barley with his medical use star power, even if your opponent's team has a Barley, that medical use star power is going to help you win that matchup and keep your own thrower alive. So that means you can just keep throwing down your attacks and blocking off certain directions for your opponents to go in, so they'll only be forced to go into one direction, and so that makes it very easy for the rest of your team to clean up those kills. Now, in terms of the rest of the team, Gale and Surge, they're super broken in this current meta, so I strongly recommend running one of those probably. They just deal a ton of damage, have the ability to stay pretty far back and stay alive. They're great defenders and great on offense as well, so just great all-around brawlers in Siege. You can also include someone like BB with her home run star power is going to make it pretty easy to get that first bolt of the game, and that can sometimes be a huge game changer because getting that first Siege basically lets your team get control for the rest of the game. Sandy is another brawler that helps your team get that control with his super. Jean is also a great inclusion for just taking kills one at a time by using your super and pulling them into your own Ike's range and taking them out that way. And then Jackie's the other inclusion you might see on here. She's great because she can just hit through the walls. She's super tanky if she ever does need to go a bit more aggressive, and she's a huge threat on defense, so she's great for pushing your opponents back and making sure they can't deal too much damage to your Ike turret. And the next map is going to be Sandy Gems, which is Heist. Now, most Heist maps don't have too much variance in the comp set they're going to be using, and this one does have a pretty large amount of grass, but it does run pretty much the same comp set you would typically see for a Heist map. There's a lot of Bull because he just has a high amount of DPS. He's really threatening in the grass to take some quick kills and give your team a little bit of an advantage, and his super can just charge in onto the safe whenever he wants. So Bull is definitely a strong inclusion for that reason. Colt is great because with his gadget, he has one of the highest DPSs in the game. I made a whole video about which brawlers have the highest DPS, and Colt is definitely up there when you can use his gadget. Same thing with Carl. He has an insane amount of DPS. His super deals almost the highest amount of damage in the game, so Carl is another great inclusion since the safe is only 2 tiles away from a set of walls, so it's very easy to get some quick attacks in with Carl if they ever leave you on the safe. BB is another great inclusion because she has a lot of speed, so she can get to the safe quickly, and her super, if you throw it right, can just keep bouncing back and forth between the walls near the safe and get a ton of damage. Max is also very, very good with her run and gun star power. She can deal a lot of DPS over time, and getting that speed boost for your team can be really, really crucial in some situations for just applying a lot of pressure to your opponents really quickly and forcing them to defend, probably saving you a lot of damage that your opponents may have gotten if you weren't able to apply that pressure so quickly. And there's also one comp with Nita. Her hyper bear and her gadget in combination can just buy you a ton of damage for free basically, so she can also be very, very good on this Heist map. But for the most part, this map is fairly standard, so you just want to use your typical Heist strategies. Made a ton of videos about that, so you can go refer to them if you don't play Heist too much. But let's move on to the final map, which is going to be Backyard Bowl for Brawl Ball. Now, this is the one Brawl Ball map that is just super open, so there's going to be a lot of different brawlers than you would typically see in a Brawl Ball map. So Pam is a really, really strong brawler on this map because it's so open. You can easily hit a ton of brawlers even if you don't aim perfectly correctly, and it's just really easy to hit a lot of her shots because you're not going to be hitting walls with your shots a lot of the time. Also, because people typically play a lot of long range stuff, you can get a bit more value out of your super since you can place it farther back and your team can stay there while still attacking your opponent and maintaining that control. So along with Pam, you basically just want a lot of long range brawlers because it's so open. If you play any close range brawlers, it's going to be very, very difficult to get close to your opponents, and if they're running all long range brawlers and you run someone like a Jackie, you're probably going to lose because your Jackie's never going to get close to them, and so she's essentially useless in that situation. So you want to run a lot of really strong long range brawlers, those being Mr. P, Gale, Surge. They're all very, very good. Brock with Incendiary is another really, really strong long-range brawler. And then Sandy and B are also very, very good inclusions. Sandy can help you just maintain that control, confuse your opponent, and maybe pull back a game that you might have been losing. And B is just great in Brawl Ball, a lot of damage and a decent amount of range, and her slowdown effect is super good on defense and on offense as well. So you just want a balanced comp, someone like Pam who is fairly tanky and can help defend and just deal a lot of damage whenever you need, and then a bunch of long-range brawlers, Gale, Surge, and Mr. P being the best choices for those. But that's gonna wrap it up for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Good luck in the challenge tomorrow. Make sure to leave a like and a comment down below if you did enjoy this video. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Don't forget to go to your settings and enable notifications there as well, otherwise you won't get them. But that's all for today, guys, so see you later.